So folks can log into YouTube and leave comments on there. Yeah. Just a little more secure that way. We've had issues with seeing people hacking in and really inappropriate things. Absolutely. Yes. And they can also do so on our website. So we can ask Rabbi, because some people don't have any sort of things, but anyone can go on or videos and make a comment on there that they've been present for the live stream. Yeah, I'll chat with Rabbi about that one. And do you just stay there, or do you so, yeah, I can move around a little bit, but typically we like to kind of clear the pathway and the speaker and a little bit of the surrounding. Do you want to come see what the video looks like? And we can, of course, move this however you'd like. Here's the video we've got right now. We have a really good microphone on here, so they'll pick up the sound very well, and it's got a little screen. But if you'd like, I can get closer so we can see the speaker a little bit closer up. Sure, yeah. Yeah, we don't mind. Let's try on this side over here and see what we think. Maybe right where you are. Here, I can't see it quite. Yeah, the tripod over there. Oh yeah, for where we were the other spot, it was I had to lower this leg over here. Let's see. Well, I can tell you are on top of your game. No, we want this to be perfect, so I'd rather you ask me. So you won't be moving at any time. Exactly. I mean, if you like, I've got my associate Kenning here as well, so I'm not the only one present to help with the service, so I can pick it up. What are you looking for? Do you want to get view of the guests and just kind of go around? Sure. Yeah, I would be happy to. I'm not a professional at it like you. I'm just a funeral director, but I will. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
She changed.
So when while Rabbi's speaking, and then kind of in between.
Yeah, or you know, so you don't have to move around all the time. Maybe.
absolutely. And then when we're filling in with some earth, I'll try to get a nice view of everyone.
Yeah, right. So that would be more. Probably.
I love your post.
Yeah, something like that. Assuming
And I
people
can
aren't
kind of circle
blocking.
around.
Yeah. Oh, I love your dinosaur shirt. That's what you look like today.
Sorry, I'm messing with
No,
you.
please, you go for it. You know more than I do.
Let's see if I do.
What is your name?
Elisa.
Elisa. I'm
Gloria's
Joya.
youngest. You're Julia.
Joya.
Joya. Your funeral director.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound like it's gonna help.
And videographer, yes. We wear many hats these days, especially. But you guys should. I've just been with the funeral home for 3.5 years. Kenny down here has been with Belgium for at least 15 years. It's a great place to be. We're very well taken care of. It's fourth generation family owned. Yeah, it's a wonderful place. And speaking of wonderful places, this is literally my favorite cemetery.
Over there.
No doubt. Never saw one this beautiful.
How did you guys find out about
My dad lived here. They looked. You know, at some point they were looking for the right place.
Yeah.
It wasn't imminent,
Absolutely.
but it was
Right.
inevitable.
Yeah,
Well, with all of it.
exactly.
And I'm just gonna look at
Very
national
zen thing.
cemeteries, and then came here, and there was no, even
No
though it's far out
comparison.
there.
Yeah, no comparison. Well, and it's a nice just excuse to, like you said, it's far out, but to get out, get
It's
a
actually
Get
about,
into nature a little bit, and it's just so tranquil, and until they build it all up.
I know, I noticed there are a lot of new housing developments. I know.
transitional.
No, we know.
Anyway, yeah, that's great. Thank you for being so
Absolutely.
accommodating.
Oh, of course.
We can still consider hog backs, right? You know, so, call them hog backs.
Yeah, yeah. You want that? You want that, Daniel? We'll figure it out, but yeah, can I call you? Yeah, so far, yeah.
So you got the camera set up. Oh,
Okay,
here's-
I'll take you. Yeah.
Just blank me out.
Something about this.
Can we just blank it out? You don't know. No, no, just the one. That too. We look at oh. There's some nice photos. You go look at that part. You go look at that.
This is unusual. I'm guessing they always do that, but they were particularly concerned. Like the reason it's covered in the tarp is because they expect rain, snow, and they wouldn't be able to. They were really worried. The logistics of the weather. Yeah. Keeps promising there was that weather.
Like my memory of those funerals in Queens is always just awful.
Yeah.
Cold
And this is
and
why
sleeting.
And this is what somebody was saying in Denver.
But
But
it's
no,
sunny.
this is Gloria's thing. Now the Queens.
Oh, the Connell and Elaine are married together.
Oh no, she's not dead yet.
Put that on. Put that on. Do you like someone to hold you and keep you warm, kiddo? Are you cold?
We're going to my daddy's stuff here. My daddy was doing that. Maybe put them in. Because that's how we get back to work. My dad want to be back to work.
Video, that's right. I mean, I learned. I didn't know.
Just grabbing a breath. Right. Hi. Oh, I see.
Morning,
Hi. All elbows. Careful there, Anna.
Very good. Thank you.
Do you know what today is?
Last night,
Yes, it is.
very sad. No one else is doing something about that. I'm so happy that you are.
So I wonder if the mini family could gather for Kriya.
Yeah, with our
That's all of us. We're all in. You're all in. We're all in. Okay.
It's all of us. Matt, you already have your clothes.
Yes.
Yes. You come forward to Kenny, and he will give you a piece of cloth.
You don't need that.
It's cold. Why don't you?
I don't know. I think it was always really that for children. Truly the
Do what in
You don't make the rules. You know, I'm getting.
So the
That's how
This process of this process of Kriya is representing physically what's happening emotionally. So you've lost your mom, you've lost a grandmother, you've lost a mother-in-law, and the fabric of the family is torn. And I know, even though there has been an experienced loss already due to the Alzheimer's, this is a loss nonetheless. And the loss of a matriarch. So what we do is we grab both sides. The common wording is Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. Blessed is the righteous judge. I just want to flip that for you. We usually think, oh, it stings. How could God demand such a thing? I like to look at it as blessed is that which gave you this rich life that we're going to talk about. This person, this character. And for that, we're going to celebrate. So grab both sides, tear it. With that light, we say Baruch Dayan. Blessed is the righteous judge that gave you this person. Okay. Who'd like to speak? I'd like to begin. Yeah, no, I'm gonna begin the ceremony. Yeah. And you know what? I'm just gonna let you come on. Speak enough.
You guys want to sit on these? I have okay. If you want to sit, you want to sit. I'm gonna face them. I wish the camera could see fully where we are this morning. This amazing place we are standing right in front of mountains with this mist hovering over them. We're wearing coats so you can tell that it's cold. You can hear the water. You can see trees encircling this space. We're at Seven Stone Cemetery. I've never been here before, but the family picked out this space as a final resting place. It's incredible. It's incredible here. My name is Yvette Loveman. I'm the rabbi at B'nai Chavurah. I had the good fortune of meeting Gloria. What a smile, what a character. And I got to meet with the four daughters last night. And it was an experience. And I learned a lot of things that were very interesting. I started to write them down, and then they said, no, don't write that down. That's just for you, Rabbi. That's just background. This was a pretty incredible woman, and it shouldn't be lost on any of us that today is Yom HaAtzmaut.
oh my goodness.
Today is Israel's Independence Day. And that was such a big deal for Gloria. It was so key to her identity.
last night when we spoke, it was Yom HaZikaron, day of memories of remembering. And here you guys were remembering and bringing out all that Yom HaZikaron does. The good, the challenging, the stories. It was incredible. I'd like you to share some of those stories now as you eulogize and give those who can't be here a flavor, if you can, of your mom and her history and how she approached life. Quite a task for you to do. I invite you to the microphone.
I wrote down what I wanted to say because I wouldn't remember. Eitan, you gonna say something too?
Close to the mic.
You gonna say something too? Eitan was Mom's joy at the end of her life. I would take him with me to visit, and she loved him. He just made her laugh all the time. I have lots of videos to show you of Bima. But here are just a little bit of my remembrances of my mom. I remember watching her get dressed to go out and being awed by how beautiful she was. But maybe everyone thinks that way about their mom. I remember sadness when she was depressed and exhilaration when she was happy. There were huge peaks and valleys in her life. Yes, I remember being embarrassed by the fact that she spoke to everyone in the grocery store. She was delightful to strangers. And I remember watching her dance. I wish she could have danced more. I wish I could dance like she could. She was so good. And I remember watching her slowly decline, becoming kinder and sweeter as she aged. In her dementia, she never missed an opportunity to stroke someone's face or ask how she could help. I guess that's how I'd like to remember her. One story I'll tell, I'm not sure why I picked this one. Maybe because it shows her lack of fear. She was driving up to Albany from New York City for the bris of her first grandchild, Josh. She had made 5 dozen spanakopita, her specialty dish. I'm getting a little heavy here. And had them in her car. And she had a terrible car accident coming up, ending up in a ditch. Ima. I just remember her not complaining about her near-death experience or the loss of the 5 dozen spanakopita which she labored over and promptly remade, but the loss of her fancy Ferragamo shoes. And she talked about that for years. I love that about her, and I wish I had thought to buy her a new pair of Ferragamo shoes. This is Beth. For a second, we're in order. I didn't prepare anything. I just wanted to speak from your heart to say a few things, actually. One that we'll miss her very much. And I want to tell a story that we told you last night. Uh-oh. Be prepared. No. So she sent Deb and me to Israel when we were very young, 10, 12 years old, and by ourselves on airplanes. And we had to switch 3 or 4, or I remember 5 times. Sometimes we didn't have to get off the plane. And I remember at the airport, I don't remember, maybe it was not called Kennedy yet. Maybe it was something else. Idlewild, yeah, airport, New York. And we were saying goodbye, and I remember asking her, does she want our relatives to call her when we got there to Israel? And she said, no, kind of surprised that I would even ask. And she said, why? You're my daughters. I know you'll be all right. And it was just that fierce independence that she taught us throughout our lives. So, thank you, Mom. I'm going to speak. Yeah. All right. I never speak, but I'm going to speak today. This is something I know about. One reason that we are here at this particular place is because of Gloria's infinite and never-ending appreciation of beauty. Beauty in a scenic view, beauty in a line of music, beauty in a well-written sentence, beauty in the hearts of people she met. And I just think that she really instilled in us an appreciation of the joy of the experience. And I am forever grateful to her for that. It's funny, I do speak a lot, and I can't say I really know what to say at my mother's funeral. I guess, Gloria died yesterday, what's that, April 13th. But for us, I guess we've been slowly losing her and mourning her for, 8 years or something. And although we did get very lucky in her dementia, she was lovely and sweet and appreciative. I do feel that I've been missing my mother for quite some time. There is, for me, a real relief in the finality of the decline. But I now am, all of the memories that I think I've been repressing of before dementia are now more present. I live abroad. She has come to visit me many times and traveled long and far, sometimes just to England, but sometimes also to Turkey, where I also spend a lot of time with my lover, Başak. And she loved visiting, and she loved the hugeness of possibility of life. She really could expand. She was an expansive person who loved to learn new things and see new things for their beauty, but just for the sheer joy of it. So I think what I want to say about Gloria is that I don't know anyone with that kind of life force. And I think she imparted some of that to us. I hope she did. And I feel her love every day. I'm very, very, very lucky to have had her as my mother. Say who you are.
I'm Danny. Gloria was my aunt, and as many of you know, we recently not only obviously lost Gloria, but we lost my mother and our Uncle Lou, all really in the last few months. And it is for us the end of a generation. And a lot of you can't be here. I know you would like to be, but my sister Leslie sent me something to read that I think is a wonderful poem by Maya Angelou. So I'm going to read that. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words, unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Rabbi Yvette Lutman. I would like to read this really quite moving obituary, moving in that it captures Gloria. She lived a long and eventful life. Thank you. She lived a long and eventful life. Born in 1924 to newly immigrant parents, so she is first generation American, right? Regina and Mayor Silverstein. She spent her first 14 years in Coney Island as the family struggled to make ends meet. Dad was a house painter, mom was a homemaker, and the time was the Great Depression. What a time to come into existence as a girl. They were so poor they used to move into a new apartment every year because there was a bargain involved. Because at the time in New York, you could get a free month's rent every time you signed a new lease. Every little bit helps. Gloria was the eldest of three. In 1938, once the family was on more secure financial footing, they moved to the more upscale neighborhood of Washington Heights in Upper Manhattan. She graduated from George Washington High School in 1942. She had been a sophomore when Henry Kissinger was a senior. The war years were tough in the family, and although most of Mayer's family had already emigrated to the United States, well before the rise of the Third Reich, thank God, Regina's entire family was back in Poland, and the news when it came was awful. After the war, they sponsored 5 surviving members of her family to come to New York, where Gloria and her siblings were first to learn firsthand about the war's deprivations. And as we spoke last night, the 4 of us, I think that those experiences, although experienced through stories and news, were as if she had gone through them herself, and fear became resident.
She became a lifelong devotee of Zionism, a staunch Zionist, convinced that as Jews there really was no safety anywhere in the world if we didn't have our own state. She didn't get much support from Dad in terms of getting educated, but she worked her way through night school, earning a BA in education from City College, and she worked a variety of Jewish organizations, whatever she could do. And this impresses me, 100 words a minute she could type. 100 words a minute. Her work was in the form of make yourself indispensable. And she succeeded. She met Aaron Lebow at a labor Zionist meeting. Where else? Where else? A labor Zionist meeting. They moved to the Bronx and they had their first daughter, Deborah, exactly 9 months and 4 days after their wedding. Because appearances are important. They went on to have 3 more daughters in the span of 10 years, Beth, Dina, and Alyssa. And I'm so glad I got a chance to hear from all 4 of you. In 1962, Alyssa, before you were born, Aaron and Gloria took the 3 daughters to Israel with the intention of making full aliyah, making this a permanent move. The journey took 3 weeks on a ship, and with them were all of their worldly possessions, along with the refrigerator. And supplies for Aaron's mother, who had made aliyah earlier in 1955. Gloria really would have liked to remain, despite the struggle to learn Hebrew, and perhaps that struggle is why she made damn sure that you guys could all speak Hebrew. Aaron was fluent, but they thought the country was too small and provincial for his tastes, so they returned to the United States. And here comes Alyssa. As y'all were growing up, Mom decided to go back to work as a teacher, but first needed her master's in education. Okay, so she went and she got that. Her first full-time job, Dodge Vocational High School in the South Bronx. Good for you, survivor. Then after a brief stint working at the sleep-wake disorder unit in a hospital, she found a permanent job at John F. Kennedy High School in Riverdale. She stayed there to retirement. I love teachers. I just love that. And I think I remember from our conversation that Gloria was a stickler for grammar.
Yes.
A stickler for grammar for herself,
Yes.
and she would happily instruct you as well.
Yes.
Yeah. The 1980s were difficult with the last of her 4 daughters off to college and a marriage that after 30 years couldn't sustain that romance. Gloria and Aaron divorced, and Gloria moved to Riverdale to be close to her work, as well as her aging parents. She was adventurous, lively, loved to dance, generous spirit. Her laugh, her smile could light up a room. And I think you used the word FOMO, fear of missing out. That she loved to go to parties and loved to be with people. Not so they could be, look at me, look at me, look at me, but she loved it. She just loved it. She visited lots of places, Mexico, Greece, Spain, Vietnam. Favorite place, of course, was Israel. Israel, Israel. Her own words, the only thing Gloria was afraid of was riding a bicycle. Wait, isn't there a bicycle here? There is a bicycle over there. She was afraid of riding a bicycle, which is surprising, given that she loved nothing more than being out. being with, she would have loved today. I think she would have loved today. So I want to talk about this legacy. And as many of you know, I always ask, what is there that Gloria can no longer do that's now our obligation to do, since she can't put that energy back in the world anymore? The one thing that kept coming up was teach others that they are strong, smart, capable, and independent. As much as you can do that, as much as you can do that with others, that will be some of the gifts that Gloria left with these generations standing here, and that we can carry on. I think you mentioned also, one of you mentioned this wanting to touch the face, wanting to give comfort, even if the ability to give comfort is difficult on your own body, or maybe nearly impossible. But to take care of someone's spirit also. What a gift we can give when we do that. And that would be her legacy that we carry on. She loved her grandchildren fiercely, and her great-grandchildren. She loved Israel, and she wanted the best for her daughters. Be strong, be smart, be independent, and lessons later in life. Care for those who can't care for themselves, even if it's difficult. Even as we lower the casket into the ground, and I see that it's a bed of straw there, which I thank the cemetery for. Even as we lower the casket into the ground and the family participates in the mitzvah of burial, this spirit rises up, and these lessons live on. So if you could begin to lower the casket. Yeah?
Yeah, he's right behind me.
Oh. It was my goal as a rabbi to learn not to cry at funerals because it's unprofessional. But normally at this point I would chant El Malay Rachamim. I think for Gloria and this family, I'm just going to do a nigun that speaks of her connection to Israel and her strong Jewish identity.
Yes, yes. While they're doing that, I'll do a little bit of a housekeeping. Housekeeping. If you are online and attending this service, thank you so much for being here. The family feels your love and your participation. It would be really good if you could document that participation by signing in, and that way we will know who has been here, and the family can show their appreciation to you. There will be a Shiva minion this evening at 6 o'clock. It'll be on Zoom. And we hope that you sign in for that, tune in for that, and participate. Bring your stories. And if you don't have a particular story about Gloria, perhaps a particular story about Israel. It reminds you of some of the things that were shared here today. Am I forgetting anything?
The link for tonight
The link for tonight is, I'll make sure that it's on the B'nai Havara website. It went out with an announcement, and hopefully y'all can share that email with the link. One of my favorite things that you told me last night, and it's around the 4 or 5 plane changes as unaccompanied children that you made on the way to Israel. And one of you asked your mom, well, you want us to have the relatives call, because as you pointed out, nobody had cell phones. And I remember those horrid public phones that you worked with some kind of a card or whatever. Do you want our relatives to call you when we get there? And she said, nah, you're my daughters. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. The process of burial is one of the most sacred in Judaism, this custom of making sure that the casket is covered. It's the last mitzvah that we can do for this individual. And how much more sacred it is when a family buries a parent, a sister, a grandmother, great-grandmother, in-law. And so as we wait for the framing to be removed, this earth that we return Gloria to in this gorgeous, gorgeous setting, a sign of respect, of kavod, and it also comes to tell us that when it is our turn, the same will be done for us. Family, you come forward. You want us to come forward now? Sure. And take the shovel.
Don't be shy and be as Gloria wanted, strong.
So when you get first,
We're gonna do this bucket first, and then we'll do. We've got lots of shovels. That's more than one.
Do you want to? We can do the cottage.
Oh, sure. This is Warner's cottage. This chateau, which I think is not lost on this family, because this is the last of her generation and the last of the matriarchs and patriarchs. And as you mentioned earlier, that you've had so many losses coming so rapidly. מוכנים? יתקדש, ויתקדש, אמן. וימליך מלכותך, חיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, אמן. יהי רבה מברך לעולם ועולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתהלל, וקדושה בריחו. לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיים, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אנו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ועושה שלום במרומה, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. May the source of comfort this family as you mourn, as you grieve, and you celebrate. This concludes our service for this morning. There will be a Shiva service this evening at 6 o'clock p.m. Please come and support the family, share stories and strength. Hi, Taryn.
Thank you everyone for your virtual attendance.
Bevakasha.
This one's